Guten Abend.
Welcome back.
Patrick, how have you been the last 3 weeks?
I've been good. How have you been? Your trip to
Very
Belgium?
fun. Yeah, I went to Belgium, exactly, had a little holiday. Yeah, and also I wanted to cure out this flu I had. It was very nasty, but now I'm fine. Yeah, again, originals, beautiful records, hot stampers, Patrick. Hot.
Oh boy. That's a hot topic these days, isn't it?
Come on, you do something. You explain. What is a hot stamper?
Well, I mean, I can give you my interpretation of what I think people think a hot stamper is.
No, it was a mean question, I know.
Yeah.
But if I understand that correctly, there is a used record dealer who says that there are stampers.
Yes. So you're referring to Tom Port. Tom Port.
Yes. And he says there are different stampers, and some of them are way better than others.
I wouldn't disagree with that premise, but the problem is, how do you know? I mean, unless you have a stamper from every pressing run, you really don't know, do you? I mean, I have, different pressing plants sound better to me. And, certain records sound better to me as well. But I mean, does that make it a hot stamper? Is that a pressing thing? Is that a plating thing? It's hard to tell, and I'm not gonna sit there and pay $500 for a hot stamper of Fleetwood Mac Rumors, an album that I can find 5 copies of right now. As I've left my house in 20 minutes, find 5 copies of it, and
give me one.
Good.
but yeah, I also, in my opinion, would say it's technically almost impossible that something like a hot stamper exists.
You could have a pressing that sounds better than
exactly.
another pressing.
Yeah, but I think that the reason for that is, in many cases, and we're talking about the 30, 25, 40-year-old record. For example, the storage conditions of this record, or how is this record handled over time, that makes a big influence. And I think what he just does is, in a way, play grading. He play grades records.
Yes, and that's something else we could talk about.
Yeah, but that's something completely different, because I'm totally convinced you find, let's go into extremes. You find a perfect mint record, but still it doesn't sound good. And you find a VG or VG Plus record and it sounds amazing.
And it's not visually, you can't tell any of that stuff. I mean, you can get a good idea. I tend to look more at the spindle and see how much wear is on the spindle when I'm buying a record, because that to me is a little bit more indicative of how it's been played as opposed to handled. When you handle something, I can show you records that have never been played that have like paper marks all over them, but their spindle's like super clean, So for me, it's more of I look at the spindle, and then you look at something, you go, okay, we talked about this a second ago. I have this Dwayne Eddy record that I bought for $1.
Wait,
I can make myself big. It has visible. You can't see it here, but it has visible. You can see one right here by this hand. There's a scratch there. See if I can. So you can see it kind of. There's a scratch all across it that you can feel. And I'm like I said, I paid $1 for this, but it plays through perfectly, absolutely, not even a click. And so I thought this thing was going to stick or skip, and it plays beautifully. So you can't judge a book by its cover, so to speak, or a record by the way it looks,
So in a way, when you buy, let's say, an original, when it comes to a certain degree of price, I think you can't buy Ultravox Rage in Eden for €4 and say to the dealer, please play grade that completely. But when it comes to a certain price range, I think this play grading, even if he might take a few bucks, but it makes total sense. Don't you agree?
I mean, if I'm going to pay like $100 for an album, I would expect that either it's been play graded by that person or the person that person got it from, at the very least, But a lot of times people don't even do that. People just throw a grade on something and say, okay. And some people will spot check and just put the needle like for 10 seconds on different spots and call that a play grade. That's not really a play grade to me, because that's not really telling you a whole lot. At the very least, someone should listen to the run-in groove for the first minute and at least the last minute on the outer groove. At the very least, just to get a feeling for how much noise is on and how much distortion is on those parts. So that's my feeling.
I don't think that a promo is a hot stamper. There are no hot stampers in my opinion, but a promo is not a hot stamper, isn't it? No.
I mean, you can get it early, like something that's pressed right off the plate, which is like, maybe the first or second, and that might sound a little bit better than the 800th. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what order they're pressed in. We could get Stunty to press 1,000 records. Let's listen to the second one, and let's listen to the 800th one and see how much of a difference there is. I can record them and tell you exactly how much difference there is. So that's the only real way to find out, is having someone who has access to a pressing plant like Stunty and say, all right, pull out 2 and pull out 800, send them to me, we'll record, or he can record them, whatever. Let's see how different they sound.
I will ask him that for sure, because
that could debunk the whole hot stamper thing. This hot stamper thing's been going on for decades. It started in the Hoffman forums, I think, and this guy was on the Hoffman forums, and he got, like usually what happens in the Hoffman forums, people yell at other people and they run people off. But
if I have somebody, and this had not only in the vinyl business, in every business, or also when it comes to private things, when somebody says something like, Chet Kasem hadn't put out a record that is not terrible. If I hear that sentence, I say, okay, go home. I don't want to talk. This is such a ugly sentence. Same he said about Kevin Gray. I think it's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
So
with this stamper thing, I think Stunty will be a perfect person to ask.
Yeah, okay. I mean, there's a way to qualify that, and I talked about this earlier. There's a record by Elf called Carolina County Ball, the UK pressing. Every one of them, and I've had 5, has distortion cut onto the album. So whoever cut that, either the arm wasn't aligned or something, but every single pressing has distortion at the exact same spot every time on that record, every time. So a lot of times people will hear something and go, man, my system sounds off. And it's not. Sometimes it's the actual pressing has distortion pressed into it. And so there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, see what happens with the New Animals remaster.
Oh God. I mean that that's just noisy. I mean, it's the same thing with the Miles Davis UHQR. I mean, mine was noisy, really noisy. And I've got a Jimi Hendrix over there that I had to destroy, a UHQR, because it was noisy. So
yeah, shit happens in that business. Although I thought this is a more or less new phenomenon, but I talked about the light blue triangle Pink Floyd pressing. And even 50 years ago, they had production malfunctions. There's this skip thing on some of those.
Was there a skip on yours? I didn't see the end of your video. No, so was there? Okay.
I was lucky. I don't have. Or what has he
gave? On your shootout, how did the German fare against the UK? I didn't see the end of it.
The German was a special case, because the German one I listened over at Volker Bullmeyer's Einstein equipment with this huge, unbelievable. We have the same equipment, but he has this new, huge, unbelievable speakers that he developed. So the German also was very, very good. But on the low end, the transparency and the punch, this light blue triangle was better. But still, you said it. You said it already, Patrick. But every version of this album sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, it's a well-recorded record. I mean, it's like, it's kind of, it's one of the, it's kind of like Steely Dan Asia. I mean, it's hard to find a really bad. In both cases, the MoFi is if you want to find a bad sounding pressing, just go get the MoFi back in the day. But yeah, it's hard. It's a really good sounding record. I mean, I like the stereo down mix of the UK quad a lot. I think the 30th anniversary sounds good. I think the A3, I think it's B3 UK that doesn't have the solid triangle, but has the other triangle. I think that one sounds great. So
yeah, and then of course you can also the price value. I mean, this A3, B3 is so much cheaper.
But you got it. But you got the whole package. You got the posters in pristine. You got the postcards, the stickers. You got everything.
Everything,
you know?
Even the inner sleeves, Patrick.
I've never seen those inner sleeves ever.
Those poly-lined inner sleeves, I may add.
It's kind of like the Top Loader White Album, with the black inner sleeves. The back in the day, those are hard to find as well.
Yeah.
So. Well, I mean, old mono records for sure, because if you sum them to mono, you lose like what is it? Half of the vertical sound goes away. Once you sum it to mono, yeah, I mean, it can play beautifully. I'll take a chance on anything mono. Excuse me, because I know that I can sum it to mono and get rid of a ton of the surface noise. But then again, I have some like Pink Floyd UK 45s that just have distortion. Once you've got inner groove damage, you're toast. Doesn't matter what you do. You're done. Canadian pressings, depending on what era and what pressing plant, the lacquer channel does good work. And I think if you see GG and the dead wax, those are considered to be really good. I've got some great Anthem pressings and some really good Attic pressings, and the Red Label Atlantics are really good too.
What does this GG stand for, Patrick?
I think it's George Graves is the mastering engineer. Mark Kopernik actually knows him. So
okay, cool.
Club edition. So there's different. So club editions would be like RCA, Columbia House, like back in the 70s, and I don't know how far back it goes, but you could like send a nickel in and you get 12 albums for a nickel, and a lot of times these companies would press their own records and they would get whatever copy the record label sent them. And most of the early club editions do not sound as good as the normal ones. But later on, when vinyl started going out, I think they started using just like, because you can get club pressings that have like sterling in the stamp. So they actually use the same ones as the original. And really later on, some metal bands only released their vinyl on club editions, so you couldn't even get like anything but the club edition on vinyl. So you were stuck, and those sound pretty good. Like I have an Anthrax State of Euphoria club edition that sounds really good.
Yeah, but that comes something to mind. We have this. Maybe I should know it because I'm German, but I don't. Maybe you do. There are those famous Herzu Beatles edition, magical. Herzu was a German television newspaper. Do you know how this Herzu Beatles edition came to be? I don't know.
I have no idea, but I also have a. How do you pronounce it? Is it
Herzu?
Herzu. Is it Herzu? Without the H is silent.
The H is not silent. Herzu.
Herzu. Okay. I always called it Herzu.
By the way, that means listen. That means listen.
Because I have a Deep Purple Machine Head with a white cover instead of the blue cover that's done by that. It doesn't sound very good, but the Magical Mystery Tour of that they did is the best. I mean, and so is the D Beatles, what I call Die Beatles. We call Die Beatles in the U.S., but you call something else. But so yeah,
I will find out how that came to be because it's strange. Because when I know this newspaper. And I can imagine that they have done some contract and they probably put out hundreds of thousands of those, and probably very cheap. And it's impressive that they are so good.
Yeah, I mean those two pressings are really good, and they're a copy tape. People say copy tapes are bad. Well, those were both copy tapes. My cat is like going crazy. But
yeah, but I think in this area, in this time period, there are a lot of pressings are from copy tapes. I can imagine.
Oh yeah, I mean lots of stuff is from copy tapes. I mean like I said, that the Sgt. Pepper that everybody wants, the Australian red vinyl Audiophile one, it was a copy tape. And everyone says that's the best of the best of the best. So,
did you? I mean,
I've had it. Yes, I've actually had a copy. I've recorded it. It's really good. I don't know if it's as good as the UK tube cut. I mean, the UK tube cut sounds phenomenal, beautiful. The stereo tube cut, all the early Beatles stereo tube cuts sound gorgeous to my ears, absolutely stunning. So, yeah, you could talk. I mean, Rachel says all we talk about is Beatles. This might be the only.
You know, you're on the Beatles channel here.
You know, I mean, if you like that, that's fine. But I would suggest if you really like, in rock. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about. Actually, the in rock is one I have. It's not Machine Head. I don't think. You're right. So I think it's in rock. Does in rock have the white cover? I think mine had the white cover. So in rock's not a great sounding record anyway. Not well recorded at all.
Ah, you saw it. I didn't see it. No, I know. Hey, Rich.
Yes. So what else? So you got you showed something else. You showed a Rory Gallagher album. I remember that because I played. Yeah, I played it for the listening hang. So.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
That was fun. I had listened to that for a long time.
Great record, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. And you can get it cheap.
Yeah, that was not expensive. Yeah, but here in Europe, Rory Gallagher, he was quite the figure for a period of time. Was that in the States too?
No, he was not. Oh? He was not big at all. He was one of those guys, kind of like someone, you know, like the Smiths or something like that. They just weren't, you know, he wasn't that big here. Queen wasn't that huge here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this 30th anniversary, a lot of comments talked about this 30th anniversary pressing by Kevin Gray, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Your take on that 30th, Patrick? Is it that
I like it. I think it was done very well. There's supposedly there's a test pressing that was cut at RTI that's supposed to be even better. It's supposed to be the best of the best, but that thing goes for like $2,500. So, but because the 30th was pressed, I think in Holland, and and the RTI one is supposed to be phenomenal, allegedly. Okay. I've never heard one. So Rory Gallagher was in a band called Taste before he went solo, right? Isn't that? I have some Taste albums.
The album I remember from Rory Gallagher here in Germany, and that was quite big, was Rory Gallagher Live. With a silver cover, if I remember. That was big here.
I think he was asked to be in the Rolling Stones, I do believe. He was you know, he was one of the guys that I think that they thought to bring in before they brought in what's his name? Can't remember his name. Mick Thomas? Oh, what the hell was his name? Who's the guy that replaced Brian Jones?
Don't ask me names. Don't ask me names.
Oh, God, I can't believe Mick Taylor. God, I can't believe I'm brain farting on that. Mick Taylor.
Rory Gallagher was big amongst Rush fans in the US, Patrick.
Oh, he did? I saw Rush several times. I didn't see him open, so I wonder. That's interesting. They used to bring like Max Webster over a lot.
Any luck? Any luck with Locked Roof Loop?
Usually, what I'll do is I'll patch it. If I have another copy of the album, even if it's not that mastering, I'll patch it. I'll digitally patch it personally. I don't like taking like a knife or anything and doing that. I'm not steady enough in my hands to like do that with a pin. So
thanks, Rachel.
Mick Taylor, yeah, I know. So what else did you get in that package? I see you got the Pink Floyd.
I got the Queen.
You got the. Was that a Blair's cut? Was that the one that had Blair's on the dead wax? Did you?
Yeah, I got
that. Sounds amazing.
I got the Clash London Calling with the Tim Tom.
Tim Tom, yeah, Tim Tom. That's the one to get. Yes. So you did well.
Yeah, I have a lot of help from Dave. You know, that really makes my life very, very easy. And
yeah, I mean the Clash Tim Tom. Usually, most of the Tim Tom stuff is top notch, but the London Calling, there's really no debate that thing sounds head and shoulders better than anything else I've ever heard of London.
And Volker Bohlmeier told me that it is the later versions of London Calling are not that good. You really,
No,
if you want to have, it's very difficult to get a good sounding London Calling. You really have to go to the very, very early stuff.
just got to get the Tim Tom and the Dead Wax, and you're good to go.
Mhm.
And also, same thing for a night at the opera. I mean, you
Yeah.
can get, the Blair's cut is the one to get. That's the one to have. There's some audiophile pressings. There's the DCC, and there's the EMI 100 series, but those are pretty expensive.
Mhm.
The DCC sounds very good. The MoFi doesn't sound bad at that either.
Yeah, but the funny thing though is that even if you go for this very, very special editions, or what did I say, go for this one in the dead wax, but sometimes the old audio files are more expensive than those originals. This is quite
Oh yeah.
sometimes. It's strange.
Well, I mean, like the DCCs, all of those things go for money. I mean, all of the versions of the DCCs that were cut by Steve Hoffman and Kevin Gray
Yeah.
go for a good chunk of change, and certain titles go for a lot of money, like the DCC of Made in Japan by Deep Purple, and the Queen one's pretty pricey too.
What
But
also
they
was
sound
in the
good.
what also was in the package is Japan.
Oh, that's right.
Exercising both, yeah. And I compared it to the Abbey Road, and when you just listen to the Abbey Road, you will say, "Oh, that's a fine. That really is a good sounding release. They did good." But then you put on the original, and you say, "What have you done over at Abbey Road?" It's sometimes it's astonishing.
Happens a lot, doesn't it?
That happens quite a lot. Really quite a lot. Where they did a fantastic job, in my personal opinion, is with the Wilco. The new Wilco. I have the box set, but I think there's also a single release. This remaster was at least on par with the original, maybe a tad better.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with Wilco. It's not one of the things that's on my not my thing. But I think the later albums that came out on vinyl are going to be a lot easier to be bested or at least equaled by a reissue.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this 80s stuff will hard to do better nowadays. It's
yeah, it's hard.
45 years almost. Don't forget that. It's quite some years. Although when I hear 80s, that has been yesterday, but also quite some years. And I think the whole industry was at an extremely high level.
Well, I mean, that vinyl was king still back then, But Jeremy says he likes the Night at the Opera DCC as well. It's a good sounding record. It really is. I highly recommend it, but it's going to cost you like $250 to get it. Whereas the original UK gets you probably 95% of the way there for a lot less money. But it's hard to find that that's not been played a lot too. That's another thing, is finding these things, that haven't been played a lot, and trusting the person who you're selling from. Once you find a seller that you trust, like you have, then that's like gold. You can't, that's worth its weight in anything. I have a guy in the UK that I know that I trust, and he'll, if you buy, it used to be if you bought more than 5 records, he would ship for free.
But okay, don't know with the shipping for free, but that's the whole trick in a way. When you're far away, you have to buy more than one record.
Oh yeah, it doesn't make sense for you not.
Yeah, of course. If you buy Beatles Sgt. Pepper's Factory sample, then the shipping doesn't matter. But if you buy regular stuff,
yeah,
buy 2, 3, 4, 5.
If you're buying like a Rory Gallagher, go out, buy the Ultravox, buy
Japan. Yeah.
Exactly. I always look and see if they have something else that I want to.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like any of the Beatles MoFis, but if I had to pick one, it would have to be probably Sgt. Pepper. The UHQR of Sgt. Pepper by MoFi is actually not bad. But I mean, I have that Mobile Fidelity box set, the big one, and I would love to sell it, but
Why don't you? Bad conscience or why?
No, but I mean, I'd have to the boxing that thing up and stuff and getting the right value for it is like, it's like that Ornette Coleman box set I have that I want to get rid of. It's like
Which one are you talking about?
The Tone Poet Ornette Coleman box set, the one that came out
You
a
want to
couple
get
years
rid
ago.
of it? I love it.
That's not my thing. I'm not a
Sure.
I'm not a free jazz guy. I tried it, I like it. I mean, I like the one that Jackie McLean album, but other than that, I wasn't into it. DCC MSSL one step. So the Hotel California DCC is very good. I have that, and I have someone will send me the one step, but the original cut by Lee Holka, which I still need to find you a copy of. That one sounds beautiful. That's a beautiful sounding one. And Kevin Gray did a copy of it a few years ago. That's also very good. Another record that's really recorded well, and it's hard to find a bad pressing of.
I just want to say, but finding a bad sounding Hotel California is not that easy, isn't it?
No, I mean it was a well recorded album.
Yeah.
So, well, British Hot Stampers. I mean, if you believe in hot stampers, and I'm not going to, the British Hot Stamper of Van Halen 2. Sure. Van Halen 2 is not going to be better.
Teasing you, Patrick.
Okay, so
yeah, for sure.
Someone's trying to make me say something about UK Discog sellers. I know they are. I know they're doing it, but yeah.
No, I haven't heard that remix. But putting out the reverb.
Rachel, do you want an honest question? Favorite recording in the Wonderful Queen box set and fave color? I would say that probably the best sounding thing on that box set is probably Queen 1 or Queen 2, the first two. And the favorite color, I don't even know what colors are in there. I don't even notice the colors. Honestly, I don't. I really don't.
The Agostini Bob Dylan releases.
I've heard of that guy. He did some Beatles stuff, and I think they were, I don't know what sources he used, but I haven't heard any of those. The latest Bob Dylan's I had Harry dropped off a bunch of records, and he dropped off like this original master of The Times They Are Changing, the mono version. So I find myself saying mono now instead of mono since I listen to Michael. So I'm changing how I say the word mono. So yes,
mono sounds nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does sound nice. But yeah. So Harry dropped a bunch of. He probably dropped up a bunch of Mo-Fi stuff. So
does he want to get rid of it or what?
So I'm going to do some comparisons with it. I asked for some of it. Some of it I didn't. But I've heard a lot of good things about that, about the Mo-Fi Dylan in mono. So I'm curious to see how those sound.
Yeah, as we have talked about club editions and also talked about not only originals, which is a good thing, of course. What's your take on Vinyl Me Please so far? I'm very fond of them right now.
They have great packaging. I love the packaging. Everything that I've got from them has been all analog, allegedly. They say so right on the label, except for the Townes Van Zandt that I got. And I bought the Townes Van Zandt because the original Townes Van Zandt vinyl is so noisy and so horrible. Even if they used a digital source, it was going to be better than the originals. Okay. So I've liked everything I've gotten from them. I don't have any complaints. Their pressings have been good. And when I had a Meters album that had a pressing issue, and they replaced it immediately. And so I have had no problems with Vinyl Me Please. None.
This is a nice question. Very nerdy, but important, I think.
I do add cleaning solution when I do my ultrasonic. I use Tergitol and I use Ilfitol. I use those two together with deionized water. You could use distilled water, but I use deionized water because I can go to Whole Foods and get like 3 gallons for like 30 cents. So I can take 3 of these big jugs.
But you mix this stuff by yourself.
Yep, right here.
Okay. Yeah, you have to give me the recipe, but up until now I buy it, but it's so ridiculously expensive, snake oil.
And they don't tell you what's in it.
No, of course not. Of course not.
I'm like, they don't tell you what's in it. I'm not putting that shit on there. So Chris Bellman, Close to the Edge. Yeah, that's a really nice, that's another, so, I mean, that's another band that I wish they would do a consistent, either Chad or somebody just do a consistent reissue of, from start to finish, at least up to a certain era, at least up to Tales of Topographic Oceans or Relayer, because they're all over the map. I think I don't know if we talked about this or if I talked it on one of my live streams, but the Yes remasters, you got some rhinos over here, you got a One Step over here, you got a Friday Music over here. So they're all over the place. I would like just a consistent. Oh yeah. So sorry. Someone says that I have the Vinyl Me Please of Verdun Fleece, and it was really good. I thought that was the first one I ever got, and I thought that was really good. So yes, definitely.
Interesting topic, because I have a question there too. Maybe have you gotten into the Joni Mitchell, the new Asylum Ears box?
I don't have the new one. I have the Reprise box, and I thought that was very good. I thought those were excellent. I have not got the Asylum one yet.
But there has been a problem, because we had two pressings, one over at RTI for our American friends, and one over here from Optimal. And the RTI version, I bought both versions, and the RTI version was way better.
I have the RTI version.
Yeah, of course you have. Why should you have the other? What is it with this Asylum? Did they do the same? Is there an RTI version? Do you know something about it? And an Optimal
I don't know.
version?
I have not. Is it out yet?
It's out yet. To my knowledge, it's out yet.
I need to get it. So somebody said, there's no issues with Tergitol. I mean, the Library of Congress uses Tergitol to clean their albums. So if there was a problem with Tergitol, I'm pretty sure they would not use it. If you use too much of it, probably. But I mean, I worked with an organic chemist for about a year on this stuff, man. I mean, we really hammered it home. He hammered it home. I just was helping him. But yeah, I mean, Tergitol is not a problem with vinyl, in my opinion.
This is for the Europeans here. Tergitol is not easy to get here in Germany. I have quite some left, Michael, if you need. Okay. Thanks.
For this gallon, I only use like 5 drops of Tergitol. Five drops. 5 drops? Yes.
Okay. So you don't drink it for breakfast?
I have a funny story about that. So this stuff is really toxic, right?
Okay.
And I have in my garage, I have a refrigerator that has like sodas and drinks and stuff. And at this time, I had some kombucha that was shaped in a bottle that looked like the Tergitol bottle, and they were right next to each other. And it was early in the morning, and I got up, man, and I opened it, and I just took a big drink of this stuff. No. And this stuff's toxic, and it started to go down. And I was like going, oh my God. I just ran in the kitchen and just like spit it out and just started like drinking water and stuff. I thought I was going to die because I was like chugging Tergitol. So yeah.
Oh my God. So you cleaned yourself from the inside.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I have the cleanest vocal cords you've ever seen. Yes. Yeah. Triton X is another thing that Triton X 100 is another thing. Photo Flow people use. Ilfitol I use because it also has a detergent quality to it. And it's not just a surfactant. It actually has a detergent element to it. And if you want to get really anal about it, you can make another solution with Liquinox in it. And Liquinox is another cleaning solution, but you really have to rinse after Liquinox. You really have to. That's a whole nother tangent we can get in on.
Very important and interesting topic. Yeah, Depeche Mode. I can't answer the first part, but I will get into Depeche Mode big, and I will get, maybe Patrick says this is a mistake, I don't know, but I get into the UK's pressing, country of origin.
Most of the Depeche Modes I've had have been UK's. Those are the majority that I've had. I've had a couple of US ones, and so.
Any differences?
So, yes.
Any differences, Patrick?
Not a lot. I mean, like it's kind of like Echo and the Bunnymen's another band that the US and UK are pretty comparable.
Okay. What is with the Pixies? I think I would say country of origin Pixies, Great Britain, because of the label 4AD.
4AD, because that's where their label is.
Yeah.
The only Pixies I've ever had were sent to me from Nick Fantasy, and so he sent me the MoFi and the UK, and they're both very good. So I'm not a Pixies expert by any stretch of the imagination.
Important albums.
Yes. Yeah, mute pressings. Yeah, there you go. So that 4AD, the mute, those seems to be pretty consistent. You know.
Can you highlight that? I don't see the
Yeah,
comment.
that's from Jose.
Okay. Okay.
So Nick
Great
Fantasy
information.
can comment on the Pixies that he sent me.
Never cleaned or played or used record that was played but spinned clean with tap water.
I don't care if it's got tap water. Once I clean it, that tap water goes away.
It's gone.
You know. Yes, you can play a quad album on a stereo cartridge. You won't have a quad sound, but you'll have the mix they made for stereo. It'll be a different mix than what they had on the normal album. That's why I buy quad albums. The down mix in stereo to me always sounds pretty cool. Usually, sometimes
that's interesting. I didn't know that there is a analog way of downgrading a quad recording to stereo.
Yeah, I mean, there's a down mix on it. So when you play a quad record on a normal stereo system, you have a normal stereo image that comes out that's just a down mix of the quad, and it sounds and it's a different mix than what the other pressings are. That's why I like the quad of Dark Side of the Moon. I would suggest if you want to have some fun, go get a quad Dark Side of the Moon and listen to that, and then you'll sit there and you'll go, wow, it's different. And I think you'd like it a whole lot. You can probably get it for you can get it for like 60, 70 euros probably for the UK quad.
Yeah, right.
No. And if you don't like it, you can resell it and make your money back easy,
Yeah, sure.
Why is there's several UK 45s. I actually went through these people are observant. I tell you, this guy spotted
I can tell you.
I'm like going, holy shit. Yeah. So I went through I've been trying to do better about recording 45s. So I went through my Ringo Starr collections and pulled out, some Ringo Starr 45s to do. And so I'm going to do You're 16 and Oh My and Don't Come Easy. I already did Photograph the other day. So yeah, that's impressive that you could spot that. That's really impressive.
Oh, I want to do a shout out, not shoot out, shout out to you, Patrick. I really, really love your vinyl listening, Hanks.
Oh, those are fun.
Everybody, it's German time. It's around 10 o'clock in the evening. And those are real fun. What goes in the peanut gallery, the music, this is really, really nice stuff you do. You do them almost every day, right?
Yeah, I try to do them every weekday, like Monday through Friday while I'm working. So I'm working and I can just play the record and everyone just chats. There's no one on camera, we just sit there and we just listen to the music and we talk.
To a special album, yeah. So try that out, people. It's really funny.
Yeah, so it's usually about 1 o'clock Pacific time here. And so usually, sometimes I try to keep it topical, like Michael will do a video, like he did the video, he showed Rory Gallagher Deuce. I said, so I played Rory Gallagher Deuce. Eddie just showed a Nostrad Temple album, that would be topical. Yeah. So I try to kind of,
that's great. Yeah.
I get up in the morning and I look at the videos people post and I go to Rachel's or something. And I'll sit there, whatever they're talking about. If I have an album that might fit that thing, I try to do that. If not, then I'll pick something that, maybe a little bit off the beaten path or a pressing that people are interested in, So yeah, they are a lot of fun. Like I said, there's no camera stuff. Everybody's just talks in the peanut gallery. You never know who's going to come in the chat. Michael's usually there. So, and usually it's someone who likes the album will drop in and talk about it. People that love it, and you learn something about the record. And I learned stuff about, people say, well, this guy went on to play with this band or this band, and then it goes from there.
Also, next to the fun in the comments, there are also people who knows very specific stuff about this certain album, and that's really, you're right. This is so interesting sometimes.
Yeah, I learned so much from that. Just people talking about it. Someone who's passionate about that record will come in and talk about it, and you can see that they're passionate about it. So, yeah, they are a lot of fun, and it's always fun to pick out something and wonder how many people are going to like it or not like it, so there's Dave from, this will be the last time we see the sound of Safe and Sound Texas rebranding. So,
but which, Michael, the Michael that sits here, and other Michaels.
Yeah, you know, Bit Bop Boom is I love John. John is a great guy and worth his weight in gold and knowledge. I mean, John knows a lot of stuff, and he's, you know, when you get John dancing on his live stream, it's pretty funny. I have nothing but amazing things to say about John. Everyone should be subscribed to Bit Bop Boom. Everybody. Oh, we got people talking about cleaning. That's always good.
See?
I'm very passionate about cleaning, as people know.
It's nerdy as hell, but come on, when you buy originals, it's quite important. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah. 90125 would be. I love 90125, but it's not some. I mean, I wouldn't play that. I mean, the Robert Ludwig sounds really good, but I don't. You know, it's not. I try to do stuff that maybe is a little bit different, or a pressing that's really, you know, rare or sought after. You know, when is the next auction? I think we're going to do an auction next Saturday. I think. Just saying. So what do you? So are you're looking to change your cleaning regimen there, Michael? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because the price is ridiculous. A little bottle, I think 18 euro.
Do you use like L'Art de Son? Is that what you use? L'Art de Son, whatever. What's the little bottle?
It's from the guy from the company that also builds the cleaning machine. The
audio desk. Can you put the stuff in the audio desk? Will it?
Yeah, I just put it in. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Top 3 vintage turntables. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert on gear. I mean, I know a lot about cartridges. I know a little bit about phono preamps. That's pretty much where it ends for me. And tone arms a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I like the old Kenwoods, sound good to me. The ones that are really thick and have almost like a slate plinth to them. You know, and there's like a lot of good Japanese 80s turntables that sound great. You know, if that's what you're looking for.
No. If you go vintage, yeah. Okay, what do we have?
People are throwing out, you know, like all Lencos, duals, techniques. Yeah. Everyone, you know, there's going to be lots more people that know more about that stuff than me.
Yeah, 50th anniversary of Dark Side of the Moon. Let's see what they do. A remix? A remix again?
Well, I mean, they you know, the quad mix is a different mix. So.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but you know, Patrick, I think going for a remix when it comes to Revolver, Animals, in a way that makes sense. You know, we have 1,165 versions of Dark Side of the Moon out there.
Yep.
What? I think in a way, when you consider that, a remix makes sense.
It's. I mean, it will never, for me, it will never replace the original. I haven't heard any remix that will replace the original, but it does make for an interesting listen. It does make for an interesting listen, and like the Animals is different because it's definitely more of a drum feel to it now, as opposed to an atmospheric feel to it. But I know that album so well that there are pieces that aren't there anymore that really throws me off. There's some acoustic pieces that aren't there anymore. Some of the darkness is gone. The atmosphere is gone. But then again, you know, like I said, it makes for an interesting listen. You know, the Steven Wilson.
And Patrick, I don't think that the idea behind those remixes are that you say, oh, this is now the ultimate version. Forget about the old one. We're not talking George Lucas here.
I love how they changed the cover. How they changed the cover so it does not replace it does not replace the other one. I think that was important. They did that with the Steven Wilson Yes remixes. Is that they changed the cover. They did not use the same cover. They said, hey, this is a whole different presentation, and you know this is what we're doing. So when I did the shootout of Yes Fragile, just as many people preferred the remix as the UK Plum, which won. So I mean, there is a spot for them for sure, you know.
What does LS mean in that context?
I think that means it's a loss, like they lose. Is that what you're saying, Rev? I'm assuming, you know, that you're talking in colloquial the L's, you know, we take a loss. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a loss. Yeah, you can of course like the original version way more, But again, when you talk about those titles, putting them out again and again, so the remix isn't that bad of an idea.
I mean, if they were gonna remaster Pink Floyd Animals, if they gave us an all analog cut at QRP or RTI, mastered by Kevin Gray or something, I would be into that. I'd be into that, but Animals has not had an all analog reissue. Neither has Wish You Were Here. Neither has The Wall. Kevin Gray did the 30th anniversary. I'm assuming that was all analog. But other than that, they haven't done an analog reissue of the Pink Floyd titles since ever. So.
But this is an interesting band, Velvet Underground. In my opinion, the Half-Speed Abbey Road remasters are a nightmare. What can you tell us about Velvet Underground great pressings?
I've had most of the originals. I had I think it was Sundays put out a box set, a mono box set. I had that one. I thought that came out really well.
I bought that due to your recommendation. Yeah,
I thought that came out really well.
Really well. That's true.
And I pretty much was done after that. I said, okay, I'm good there. That's really all I need. Are those.
But what I didn't do so far, at least, is compare this Sunday's mono. Compare against the originals. The originals are hotter, fresher, cleaner, better, or what's your take?
I haven't had a cleaner. I mean, the hard part is finding a clean, Velvet Underground. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could do a comparison. I mean, I think I've done originals of like the first one. I think this friend of mine had one without the peeled banana, with the unpeeled banana. But
okay.
I'd have to go look. But they're not one of my favorite bands. So once I got that box and I thought that box sounded really good, I said, I think I'm good. I don't know I think I don't know if I played Budgie on the listening. Maybe I'll do one of those. I think I've done one. Might be a little bit too heavy for Michael. I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe I'll do one this week, and Michael can let you know what he thinks of Budgie. I love Budgie.
Yeah, let's do that. So Jose Moreno says mono box set is probably the best thing.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not a VU guy, but so to answer this question, yes, now that's an album that needs a remix. Is Born Again. It is the densest, driest record I think I've ever heard, and the music's great, but the production's horrible. That one needs a remix, and I've heard that they found that too. I don't think that.
Of course, I don't think so too, but it will be big.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is, Michael? Or did you freeze at that moment?
I freeze at that moment. No, but it will be big.
I don't think the mono mix was all analog. I think that was done at the same time as all that other stuff when they were doing with James Guthrie. I think that stuff was definitely cut from digital. I could be wrong, but I think it was cut. All that stuff was cut from digital back then.
I think so too. Born Again remix is coming. Okay.
Yeah, that Black Sabbath. I mean, the songs are great, but the production was so bad. Really, really horrible. Bad production.
From what year is this Born Again?
82, 83, I think. It was
Black Sabbath.
Right. Yeah.
Black Sabbath self-titled, this Philips thing, right? First British pressing with the Philips on.
Yep. What about it? What's the question?
Yeah, the question, the one to go for, Black Sabbath self-titled.
Okay, so I've been toying with this idea of doing. So everyone has their niche, and so my niche seems to be pressings and stuff. So I'm gonna start doing a series of like picking one album and spending 5 minutes and saying, all right, here's how to find the best sounding pressing.
Great.
And so Black Sabbath first album was the first thing I thought of, because you can find pressings that have the same matrix as the Philips for a lot less money that were pressed later on in the UK or in like South Africa or or other places. So that's what I
Meaning
want.
that they ship the metal plates.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yep. So that was actually the first album I was going to do. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it in 5 minutes with Discogs. Say, all right, here's the matrix. Here's how you do it.
Yeah.
Go look here, click here. So just really quick and just one album at a time, and say, okay, this is how you find a really good sounding pressing for not that much money, because you can get like something like $50 for that. You can find them. They're out there. They won't be after I make these videos, but they're out there right now. It's like the Iron Maidens went away once I told everybody, go get the Russian Gala pressings. Now they're all freaking gone. Sorry, Nick. I have to, Nick. I can't keep it a secret any longer.
Yeah, those will be, of course, great videos. Do that. Great.
Because that seems, that's pretty much what I do. It's what I'm doing right now, so I might as well, make a video about it. So, at least it's there for posterity's sake. And,
But that doesn't mean, in my experience so far, that if they send the metal parts around the world, that those records sound the same. It still can
not
be
exactly the same, because the pressing plants are different. The pressing plants are different, but you're pretty damn close. And rather than paying $400 for a Philips, if you can get one for 40, if you want the very best of the best of the best, then yeah, get those and spend the money and get that. If you want to find something that sounds great and is very close, then this will be the way to go. So,
and also don't you agree? Maybe you don't agree. I don't know. We had never discussed this topic. There is also, in my opinion, for me at least, this aspect of collectability.
You mean like later, like down the road, or
also like down the road, but still to have this light blue Pink Floyd.
Okay. I know what you're saying. We have talked about this because I talked about having that Nimbus Wish You Were Here that I paid a ton of money for.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But it's like now that I have it, it's like
I'm home.
It's like, yes, I will look at it often. I just I'm like, oh no, you're mine. It's like, yes,
exactly.
So yeah, I don't necessarily. I will buy stuff if I saw something cheap that I know is collectible. Yeah, I'll buy it. But if I want something and it means a lot to me, yeah, I'll get it. And
that's the point. Yeah. But of course, don't get me wrong. What you say, that there is the same metal parts and it costs a third of the other one and sounds almost as good. Yeah, this is invaluable information, of course. Don't get me wrong.
Like I said, unless you have something that is that important to you, like the Pink Floyd you got, like the Pink Floyd that I got, or any album that really means a lot to you, and you really want the best of the best of the best, then that's a different story. But there are albums that you really want, and you would like to have a great sounding one, but you don't necessarily need the $500 Philips Vertigo Swirl one. If you can get the Spaceship label for $50.
Yeah,
it all depends on what you want and how important it is to you. And so that Pink Floyd Wish You Were Here, the Nimbus cut, that's important to me. That's
it has to be.
That Pink Floyd A2B2 that you got is important to you.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And once you get that, and the best part is when you buy something like that is hard to find, that is collectible, and you play it and it meets all expectations, then that is even better. Because there's a lot of times you buy something and you have such high hopes, and then like that Queen box set, I'm like going, you know what I mean? You how many times have you bought something that you were so excited for, and you put it on and you're underwhelmed? You're like going, man, it happens a lot. It happens to me a lot.
It happens. It happens more with the music. I wait for a record, and I'm not underwhelmed by the quality, but with the music, then that happens even more.
I'm more. I get more. Well, if it's an album I don't know, yes, but if it's an album that I know, You
Yeah, of
know, I
course.
mean, there's a lot of stuff that, you know, I
Yeah.
get, and
Yeah.
I'm looking at some of these box sets up here. Most of them are really good. I was underwhelmed with the Sting box set. I was underwhelmed with
Abbey Road, yes.
and I was there's not a lot of these box sets. Well, the Black Sabbath box set I was underwhelmed with.
Yeah.
The Ornette Coleman I was underwhelmed. Oh, hold on. I have this here.
Yeah, but with the Ornette Coleman box set, Patrick,
there you go.
Yeah, this is this. Yeah,
it was the music for the Ornette Coleman, not the master.
Yeah, it was not the quality, right? Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is a nice jacket. This was like $100. You know, this is a nice. I mean, the actual box the box comes in is pretty shitty, but the records themselves are really good. I mean, yeah. I forgot I told you about that. You got that. I'll have somebody send me the Revolver and I'll record it.
Yeah, I'm picking it up, and yeah. Although this is the Abbey Road matrix to go for, yeah.
I could play that one this week too. That was a beautiful sounding pressing. That thing's beautiful, absolutely stunning.
We are talking mono here, right?
No, Abbey Road only is in stereo. The only mono version was a fold down in Brazil.
Okay. Sorry, I mixed it up with Rubber Soul. Sorry.
Yes.
Me and names.
So I'll let you answer that first.
When your phono cartridge is on the end of time, do you buy new or
repair the old one?
I buy new.
So you have the Audiophile, the Einstein branded Audiophile, right?
Exactly, the one that Volker Bohlmeier developed with them together.
So it probably has the Replicant 100 stylus, and you could get that retipped, but it would probably cost you like $5,000 to get it retipped. You know.
Yeah.
So it all depends on the cartridge. So for me, I have a moving magnet, so I can replace the styli.
You can zip it.
I bought 12 replacement styli because they were going out of their. They don't make the replacement styli for my cartridge anymore. I bought 12 over time, and I have a stash of them. So I have probably for the next 10 years. I'm good. But
so you sleep very well.
I'm good. Yeah. So
you know the day before my beautiful package came, what happens? 2 tubes on the amplifier. Boom.
Quads? Do they have quad tubes? Is that what you have?
Pardon?
Do you have like those EL84 quads? Is that what your system uses? I don't know about.
I don't know this stuff. I'm totally not interested in that stuff.
You just have Mr. Bohlmeier just come in and like.
I go there, I pay, and he gives me a replacement until it's repaired, but that was so terrible. That felt so terrible. But that's the problem with tubes, with cartridges, with stylis.
Is that the purple felt one? I think I have that, if that's what you're talking about. And I don't know, how do you tell which is the first or second, Jim? I bought mine as soon as it came out. So what's the difference between the first and the second? I'm not familiar with the second pressing. Have not heard the new reissue of Dirt. I have the original of Dirt.
I have it here, but I haven't listened to it yet. But I've heard good things. Dylan from Noble Records compared those, and he said the new one is better than the.
So Soundsmith, the thing about getting a cartridge retipped is that it's not going to sound. If you send like I sent an Audio Technica to Peter, who's the guy at Soundsmith, Peter Lederman, and if you get him on the phone, carve out an hour of your time, because that guy talks and talks and talks. He will chew your ear off. But anyway, just know that when you get your cartridge back, it's not going to sound the same. It will not sound the same, and sometimes you may like what it sounds like, but it's not going to sound the same. If you're expecting your cartridge to come back and have that same signature to it, it's not going to happen. Especially sending something with a microline stylus to someone like Peter, because they don't do microline. They do special line contact, and so there's
let me just get into Nick Pantazi's comment. Yeah, it sucks. And now what I do know about the tubes that are used, they are out of the late 80s, out of Eastern Europe. And they bought a huge stash of them so that they have for decades. But those are late 80s Eastern European tubes.
People commenting about Peter. Yes, Peter's a genius, but yes, he talks a lot, a whole lot.
So he's into it, Patrick.
Oh God, I mean, he gets very technical too. He'll just like sit there and start just chewing your ear off, man. It's like, and you're like, I don't understand a word you're saying.
Shall we invite him to our live stream, Patrick?
He would probably come. He would come. He's super nice guy.
Why not? It's an important topic of our hobby.
Yep. I've never had a Soundsmith. I've had 3 Soundsmith cartridges. I've never had one retip though, so I would assume they would probably sound the same. If you're retipping a Soundsmith cartridge, that would probably sound the same. Every time, Liam, you ask me about Buckingham Nicks. Every time. It's like a joke. All right, let me see if mine was pressed at Rainbow or pressed at RTI. I can tell you right now. I'll tell you. God, I hope I didn't get a Rainbow one. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves while I'm looking at this.
We watch you, Patrick. We watch you. I make you big. What are you looking for? The Matrix?
I'm looking for the Matrix. I'm trying to see if it's got the shit. That one's got no dead wax whatsoever.
Okay.
Oh my God, it might be a Rainbow. Not happy. What deck are you using? I have a BPI Scoutmaster with a different tone arm, with a linear Transfi Terminator linear tone arm. Why does this one only have a paper sleeve? Here we go. This one I can read clear. Yeah, this is a piece of shit Rainbow, man. Holy shit. I bet yours is probably an RTI. Anyway. Do you recommend any UK sellers? Oh my God, people! This is a trolling comment right here. See, you're trying to bait me. I know you're trying to bait me. No comment. No comment whatsoever. I have no comment on that. I've had a Zephyr, and I've had the Mimic Star, and I've had the Sasoro. Oh, let's put this up in a minute.
I thought the same, by the way, Kevin, when Patrick didn't find the dead wax.
No, it's just really thin. Side 2 of that it's a long side. It's almost no dead wax.
Patrick, you know how long it took me to find out if this really means Tim Tom. Sometimes it's tough to read.
It's very hard. You have to like get a magnifying glass and yeah. Oh man, now I'm depressed. Now I got to go look for an RTI version of this stuff.
Wait a second. I want to answer. No, not so far, but I'm overdue when it comes to a purge. I'm really overdue. My wife is really angry with me. I have to sell some.
My wife's really angry with me.
Yeah, it's.
My Soundsmiths weren't damaged. I just moved on because for me they don't track as well because they don't use a microline stylus. They use a special line contact. They sounded great. They just didn't track as well. And for me, tracking is everything. So.
Liam, maybe we'll find.
Yes, the Matrix starts with S. That's Rainbow. Yep.
Liam, maybe we'll find a solution.
I'm just not prepared to get rid of mine. I need to find out what the best pressing is. I don't want to say this, but I think I have 4 or 5 copies of Buckingham Nicks. I just have to figure out which one I want to keep. So that's the problem. I know that probably makes you crazy, Liam, knowing that I have 4 or 5 copies of Buckingham Nicks. So
you're torturing him, Patrick.
Well, he brings it up every time, and
yeah, it's important to him.
He knows, but he knows the answer. He knows that I know that he wants one. He knows that I know that.
Patrick, one day you will get weak, and he got one. Or gets one.
There we go. There's that one. There's that one.
Oh, no. Okay, now you really want to do the torture. Okay, I make you big, so.
There you go. There's at least 2 of them. So when I do get rid of them, Liam, I will definitely keep you in mind. Yes.
Is this so hard to get record, Patrick?
Yeah, it is. It's never been reissued. They only did an initial run, probably of like maybe 10, 50,000, somewhere around there. And so, you know, you can get it. I mean, it's not. It's getting more pricey now. You know. So.
Oh, this is a perfect question.
That's it. That's impossible. I mean, my favorite sounding record.
Come on, name 3.
Well, you did a contest with that. So you're very. I think your very first contest was give me your best sounding records.
My very first and my very last.
Yes, I actually did one. So at the Ambrosia album that I talked about on that video is one of my best sounding records. Best sounding records. That's really hard. There's a lot of the Tone Poets that I think sound great. Probably there was a Bobby Hutcherson Tone Poet that came out that I thought was really, really amazing sounding. Just absolutely just drew me in. I can't remember the name of it, but well, here, I'll tell you. That's 2. What are yours, Michael? Well, I'm trying to think.
I wasn't asked.
Oblique. I think Oblique is the one that
and yeah, but honestly, that changes by me. I'm not that consistent because I get new stuff. I learn more. I hear more. Right now, I would say that, for example,
Dark Side of the Moon, A2B2.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's definitely in the top 5. The Neu, the German first pressing of Neu, self-titled.
On Brain?
Yeah, it's Patrick. That is an unbelievable good sounding record.
I have a recording of that one. Yes,
unbelievably good. What else? It's so. There are a ton of great sounding records out there.
You know, the Abbey Road, A2B1 is really good sound. Is a really great sounding record. Wish You Were Here is a great sounding record. Yes,
but would you rate a Beatles record among the best sounding records of all time?
I'll tell you what. You go get the A2B1 and listen to something. And then come back to me and ask me.
I will do that. Yeah.
Well, you know what also is a great sounding record is a Sarah McLachlan Surfacing. I thought that was a great sounding record. Someone mentioned classic records. So
Patrick, some of those Zappa records sounds unbelievable good.
Chris Bellman did an amazing job on that. Those Zappa reissues are phenomenal. Absolutely, those are a great bargain. Really, really great bargain. Yeah. But yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it probably changes like every day. You know, I could listen to a record.
Every 2 days.
That's a great sounding record. Oh, that's a great sounding record. Yeah. That's a great sounding record. It's like
if you talk like that, we will come up with 50 records in 2 hours. I think.
Easily. You know, I mean, I listen to those Tone Poets, you know, and the Music Matters SRXs and the 45 RPMs and all of those sound great. They all sound phenomenal.
And especially, there are records that for sure are not audiophile records, but somehow I totally love how the Doors self-titled analog production sounds. I love it.
Yeah. All of those titles sound great.
Yeah.
You know, the Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff, the Kevin Gray did the Kinks sounds great. You know, that Kinks box set sounds phenomenal. But Abraxas and Quad, some of the Quad mixes, they have elements where they're trying to make the surround thing, where certain elements are too loud and they sound really freaky and sound really funky. So Pink Floyd Wish You Were Here Quad doesn't sound to me as good as like the UK Dark Side of the Moon Quad. The quad pressing of Wish You Were Here sounds too funky. You know, it's like they threw in too many elements that sound weird in the stereo mix. And that happens on some of the quad. It's a hit or miss thing. I'm not advocating anybody getting rid of their Queen box, but I will say that start off with something cheap like the Miracle and compare the Miracle in the box set to the Miracle of an OG, and then work your way back and see what you think.
Yeah, but that now the circle in a way has closed. We said it at the beginning. You listen to those and you say, oh no, this is a good, oh, that's fine. Oh, great. But then you listen to another pressing and say, oh, what? Wait a second. Wow.
What was that? Yes.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. And, you know, if you've never heard something better, then you're always going to say, this sounds good. And it does sound good. It's not that it's bad. It's just that there's something that is a notch above it that sounds better. There's a difference between a bad sounding record and a record that sounds good but has something that sounds better. So it's different. Not everything that's bested by an original or reissue means that whatever bested it, it means that it's not good. It just means there's something better. Whereas something bad is bad. You know, if you hear something and it's bad, like that Sticky Fingers that you can't stand, you know, that's bad, you know.
And you know, that's why I love the information you give to us so much, because you really can shorten the journey and save a lot of money. When I know, get for this copy and not for this copy, it's not that the better ones are always more expensive. It's not the case. So this is great information and can save you a lot of money.
Yeah, I love 12-inch singles. I mean, I absolutely adore them. I mean, I wish I had a lot more. You know, I pick them up whenever I can.
Yeah, and you really get them quite cheap in most.
Yeah, I mean, because it's because you get the song cut across like the whole record, you know, and it's usually so much more dynamic and full, generally.
And don't underestimate the B-sides.
Yeah, I love the B-sides. I love unreleased B-sides, and those I live for those things. Yeah. What is my best sounding metal album?
Here you go. Is Ambrosia? Isn't that metal?
No, Ambrosia's prog. Ambrosia's prog. But it was engineered by Alan Parsons, and that's why it sounds so good.
You did it. You did it. We listened to it.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah. Now I remember. Yeah.
My best sounding metal album. That's hard to say. I mean, there are some great sounding metal albums.
Is there good sounding metal?
Yeah. I mean, Queensryche Empire sounds good. I think Rust in Peace by Megadeth's a good sounding record. I'd have to think about that. You know, I mean, Judas Priest doesn't have a lot of great sounding records, but in general, no. Is there a site where the best pressings are listed? Not really. I mean, you just have to like look around, and the Hoffman site is good, but you have to like realize who is more aligned to what you like and listen to, because there's one person can say I like this the best, and the next person can say that sucks. So you can have people with two different opinions, and that happens to me whenever I do these shootouts. One person will say A is the best they've ever heard. One person will say A is horrible. It's the worst I've ever heard. Two separate people. So they hear differently. So you really can't say
there's a definitive different equipment. This also
there's nothing definitive ever. No one's ever going to agree, that something is better or worse.
How many hours out of your styler before you replace them, rebuild your cartridge?
Depends on the stylus tip. Different stylus tips last longer than others. There is I need to find this link. There's a link that actually has a nice little chart that gives you a good ballpark of how long your stylus will last, whether it's from 200 hours to 500 hours to 2,000 hours. And I think they mostly gauge it by 15% degradation over time. And so mine is a microline, and it supposedly can last 2,000 hours. I tend to start checking it at about 1,500 hours. And
don't you go with your ear? I think you.
Oh, always.
Yeah. You will.
But as soon as I change a cartridge, I put a calendar reminder that every three months later I need to check it and say, okay, check this in 3 months, check it in 3 months. So I just keeps it in mind. I do the same thing with, like, cleaning my belts and, lubing my spindle. So all that stuff, I put a calendar in there because you forget about that stuff. Lubing your spindle is important.
Yeah.
A lot of audiophile systems can't play metal music to sound good. I don't understand that. You don't need a special system to play heavy metal. Please, can you explain? Michael, you have a big metal collection, don't you? What's the heaviest album you have? I know you have some Rammstein, right?
No, I don't have Rammstein.
Nope. Okay.
Rammstein is not. Yeah. Okay. Define hard. I have some Jap noise. I have some Merzbau records.
Okay.
And you can let's do a vinyl hang with Merzbau, Jap noise.
I don't have any. I'd have to get some.
Yeah, but this is tough stuff. Really.
But
tough.
do you think Poetry on Plastic would have some? Is that stuff like Michael Poetry on Plastic collects that stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has noise records. That's true. But but don't mix that up with this Japanese J-pop stuff.
Apparently, not everybody likes
it's difficult to like. It's interesting, but it's difficult. Really, really, really difficult.
I think you can star them like that. I think, is that what you mean?
I don't know how that works. Can you? I don't know. Yeah, you can. Yeah, but for what is the star good? I don't know. Maybe
I don't know how you. Oh, so after you do that, then there's a starred. There's a little now. There's like a little tab. You look at the top. It says starred. It says starred. See?
Yeah, I see stars, but okay, you get.
So I guess if someone asks a question you want to get to later, we can star it and then get back to it.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Good to know. Good to know.
I'll start working on that. I'll see if I can figure out how to do that and incorporate it into what we do here. Sure. Yeah, I don't like Metal Machine music, so that's not me. Is record collecting the ultimate decadence amidst the sixth massive extinction? What the hell?
Yeah, but this is an interesting question. Although I have to admit I'm in the fifth extinction right now, not in the sixth.
I just don't want to think about that. So I just want to like listen to music.
Oh. If you enjoy Lou Reed Metal Machine music, you will love Merzbau. Okay.
That's not for me, Zeb.
No,
I can't like everything. And
no, completely different. I can imagine.
I couldn't even tell you.
Okay, Patrick.
Ready to wind it up?
Any plans for next week? New records, new orders?
Yeah, I think I should get. Let's see. Hold on. I'll tell you what I have coming in. So I will let you know. I think my tone poet's like delayed.
Which one?
The Sunny. Oh, I have to go look. So I bought
the Grant Green and the Kenny Burrell.
I got the Kenny Burrell. The Grant Green is the one that's
okay.
That's delayed. I got a couple of cult albums coming. Oh, I got an Ancient Greece album coming, an original Ancient Greece album. I got Doro, a German Doro Force Majeure, a metal album in Destroy.
I know Doro.
Yep. Yeah. And a couple other obscure things coming in. That's about it. And doing an auction on Saturday.
No, with Wax. With Wax or somebody else?
I think with Wax and maybe one other person. I mean, Harry might come in and do some singles, so I don't really know. But it depends on if he's back home. The Cult. I'm getting the Love and Electric UK pressings, getting them again. So
okay.
What's coming
Yeah,
up with you, Mike?
I will get a very, very exciting package again from Dave.
Mhm.
Can't wait for that one. Yeah, and then probably after that week, Stunty and me, we start preparing for Utrecht/10 Bosch, biggest record fair in the
Oh, is
world.
that coming up? Are you going to hang out with Stunty at Utrecht?
We go there.
Mhm.
That will be
Doesn't
fun.
that girl with the channel, the record crate? I think that's her name. She's really super knowledgeable. Nice woman. I
Yeah,
haven't seen her channel in a while though. She lives
yeah.
around there too. I
Okay,
can't remember her name, but
I don't
yeah,
know that.
she has a record store too.
Cool.
She's called the Record Crate. I'll send
Right.
you a link to her channel. You'd probably
Yeah,
get
do
along
that.
with her.
I will look that up. Yeah, and that's of course, this will take some preparation, and this will be very, very exciting. Probably
Is,
quite overwhelming. Why
is
don't you
Stunty's?
join us? Come on, Patrick, take a plane and join us.
I'd love to, but it costs me too much to ship stuff back. Is Stunty going to sell, or is he just buying?
We're just buying, making
Okay.
videos, making live streams, buying. Yeah,
Do you have
come
any
on. Yeah.
special guests lined up while you're in Utrecht to interview?
Yes, two so far.
Okay.
Dealers.
Dealers? Okay. So are UK dealers coming to this, or are they not going to have as many UK dealers as they usually have? I know that was a problem the last couple of years after Brexit and all that stuff, that UK dealers weren't coming over like they used to.
This is a very good question. I can't answer yet, but this may be the case. You're right. You're right. Probably not that easy for them. True.
Yeah, because I remember somebody talking about it like a year or two ago, saying that since Brexit, they were disappointed that there weren't as many UK sellers there. And it might have actually been Mike Esposito from the In-Groove, I think actually is the one who said it. That said, hey, I went over there and there was so few UK sellers because of Brexit. He was kind of disappointed. So because he was looking for UK.
Of course, if you come from the States, you probably would mostly be in the British pressings, right?
Yeah,
sure.
So I mean that's what he was looking for, and so he said he noticed that there weren't that many, and that was the deal. So, but
you don't
guys,
need many. But Patrick, you don't need many. You need the right ones.
That's true, but you need the right ones that sell at the right prices as well,
Sure.
And I've been to the Austin Record Show, and there have been some UK sellers there, and their prices were just outrageous, absolutely. And I guess that they have to be to make it affordable for them to come, but at the end of the day, most of those people ended up shipping their records back home because they were so expensive. $500 for a King Crimson Pink Island Court of the Crimson King.
Wow,
that's pretty pricey.
True.
So
I will go there to get an impression, just to see this atmosphere. I'm totally happy that Stunty joins me, and just this is fun. Just digging, looking.
It's overwhelming, I mean, the Utrecht one's even bigger than the Austin one. Yeah. I remember walking into the Austin one and just going like, whoa, I mean, just overwhelming. You sit there and you see rare record after rare record after rare record, and it's also super expensive. So it's not like you're not gonna go in there and really pull anything over a seller. There's very, very rarely you're gonna pull something over. Occasionally you'll find someone who doesn't know what they have, but pretty much most of those people know their shit. So it's good in that way, but it's also bad in that way. You kind of want to go into there, and find someone who doesn't know what they have and like get a deal. So
yeah, but you probably won't find them there.
No, not there. That's not the kind of atmosphere you're going to find that stuff. The local show that has somebody who had records in a garage and they just show up to sell them. That's where you're going to find them.
What was your biggest record fair so far that you have visited?
The Austin Record Show, which is probably the biggest one in North America.
Okay. You go there every year?
No, I've only been there a couple of times. I thought about selling there once a long time ago, and then I just getting the records there. I'd have to drive, and I'd rather just go and buy and go to the hotel where the dealers are the day before, and that's when the real deals are done. You need to get there before everyone gets there.
Yeah, we have those kind of tickets. We go for the first day on the
early bird. Yeah. Austin does the same thing. You can buy the early bird and pay like $20 and get there for the whole day before anybody else does. But even the night before, though, if you go to the hotels where all the vendors stay, they're dealing there too. They're sitting there and doing their thing, going, "Hey, come check this out." So You can get deals out there.
Yeah, I hope so, Stunty. I trust you. I trust you blindly.
I haggle all the time. Yeah, I sit there and go, hey, how about give me this for 20? Yeah. How'd you make out, John? Find anything cool? Anybody who's not subscribed to this man, subscribe to him immediately.
Go there, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You ready to wind this up? Almost 90 minutes. That's about our sweet spot. We still got 250 people here.
Don't do it that much longer. We covered quite some interesting topics, in my opinion. Once more, Patrick, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And see you in 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh,
so we go.
Well, I'll probably see you on Monday on the listening hang, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. But we don't see us.
No, we won't see us for another 2 or 3 weeks. So.
Okay, Patrick, thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.